Only a few years ago, I learned that we had a political party that denied rights for a certain race of people to vote. And when the party's back was against the wall and could no longer hold back the people from voting, they came up with the idea that if they can't keep people from voting and having freedom of choice, they will set it up for people to vote a certain way for a party for the next 200 years. And unfortunately, it has been working. People have been told if they vote for a certain party, their life will be far better than voting for the other party. They promise so many better things for the people, but when they get in office, they do nothing. But I want to keep my focus on Yahuah as much as possible, and not so much in politics. But that's my quick intake on how I see things from a political view. Robin used his policies on the people of Yahuah to the point they no longer wanted the policies that the king laid out for the people. Some kings had no problem in oppressing their own people. And when you get away from Yahuah's policies and demands, you can find yourself outside the Father's will. When Yahuah sends someone out in the land to bring word, we must be careful not to add or take away from his sayings. Yahuah is merciful and will not leave you nor forsake you. If you keep his sayings, he will always be by your side. 2 Chronicles 15:2. And he went out to face Asa, and he said to him, Hear me, Asa, and all of Yehudah and Benjamin. Yahuah is with you while you are with him. He is founded by you, but if you forsake him, he forsakes you. Mashah 4. Children, listen to the discipline of a father, and give attention to no understanding. For I gave you good instructions. Do not forsake my Torah. For I was my father's son, tender and the only one in the eyes of my mother. Then he taught me and said to me, Let your heart hold fast my words, guard my commands, and live. Get wisdom, get understanding. Do not forget and do not turn away from the words of my mouth. Do not leave her and let her guard you. Love her and let her watch over you. The beginning of wisdom is get wisdom, and with all your gettings get understanding. Exalt her and let her uplift you. She brings you esteem when you embrace her. She gives your head a fair garland. She shields you with an adoring crown. Hear, my son, and accept my words, and let your years of life be many. I have taught you in the way of wisdom. I have led you in straight paths. When you walk, your steps shall not be hindered, and if you run, you shall not stumble. Hold fast to discipline. Do not let go. Watch over her, for she is your life. Do not enter the path of the lawless, and do not walk in the way of evildoers. Avoid it and pass by it. Turn away from it and pass on. For they do not sleep unless they have done evil, and their sleep is taken away unless they make someone fall. For they have eaten the bread of lawless doing, and they drink the wine of violence. But the path of obedience is like the light of dawn that shines ever brighter to the perfect young. The way of the lawless is like darkness. They do not know at what they stumble. My son, listen to my words. Incline your ears to my sayings. Let them not depart from your eyes. Guard them in the midst of your heart. For they are life to those who find them, and healing to all their flesh. Turn away from a crooked mouth, and put perverse lips far from you. Let your eyes look forward, and your eyelids look straight before you. Consider the path of your feet, and all your ways are established. Do not turn to the right or left. Turn your foot away from evil. I find that if anyone actually likes watching these videos will have a difficult time sharing with other viewers. But another reason why I began making videos, I found that videos I share with other YouTubers wasn't as appealing for others to watch. I have a hard time sharing even after being the one making them. But I find I'm doing Yahuah's will if I keep making them. But I love making them because I love doing the Father Elohim's will. So if I have one viewer watching, it's like 1,000 viewers sharing. 1 Malachi 13. And see, a man of Elohim went from Yehudah to Bidal by the word of Yahuah, while Yerban was standing by the altar to burn incense. And he cried out against the altar by the words of Yahuah, and said, O altar, altar, thus say Yahuah, see, a son is to be born to the house of David. Yahshua is his name, and on you he shall offer the priests of the high places who burn incense on you, and men's bones be burned on you. And they gave a sign the same Yom, saying, This is the sign which Yahuah has spoken. The altar is split apart, and ashes on it is poured out. And it came to be when King Yerbin heard the saying of the man of Elohim who cried out against the altar in Bidal, that he stretched out his hand from the altar, saying, Seize him. Then the hand which he had stretched out towards him dried up so that he was unable to bring it back to him. And the altar was split apart, and ashes poured out from the altar according to the sign which the man of Elohim had given to the word of Yahuah. And the king answered and said to the man of Elohim, Please the face of Yahuah your Elohim, and pray for me, that my hand might be restored to me. And the man of Elohim pleased the face of Yahuah, and the king's hand was restored to him, and became as it was before. The king then said to the man of Elohim, Come home with me and refresh yourself, and I give you a gift. But the man of Elohim said to the king, If you were to give me half your house, I do not go in with you, nor do I eat bread, nor drink water in this place. But so he commanded me by the words of Yahuah, saying, Do not eat bread, nor drink water, nor return the same way you came. So he went another way, did not return by the way he came to Bidal. And a certain old prophet was dwelling in Bidal, and his sons came and told him all the works that the man of Elohim had done in that Yom in Bidal, the words which he had spoken to the king. And the father said to them, Which way did he go? And the sons had seen which way the man of Elohim went, who came from Yehudah. And he said to his sons, Saddle the donkey for me. And they saddled the donkey for him, and he rode on it. And he went after the man of Elohim and found him sitting under a terebinth. And he said to him, Are you the man of Elohim who came from Yehudah? And he said, I am. And he said to him, Come home with me and eat bread. And he said, I am not able to return to you or to go with you, nor am I to eat bread or drink water with you in this place. For word came to me by the word of Yahuah, Do not eat bread nor drink water there, nor return by the way you came. And he said to him, I too am a prophet like you, and a messenger spoke to me by the word of Yahuah, saying, Bring him back with you to your house, and let him eat bread and drink water. But he lied to him. So he turned back with him and ate bread in his house, and drank water. And it came to be as they sat at the table, that the word of Yahuah came to the prophet who had brought him back. And he cried out to the man of Elohim who came from Yahuah, saying, Thus saith Yahuah, because you have rebelled against the mouth of Yahuah, and have not guarded the commands which Yahuah your Elohim commanded you, and turned back and ate bread, and drank water in the place which I had said to you, Do not eat bread, nor drink water. Your body shall not enter the burying place of your fathers. And it came to be after he had eaten bread, and after he had drunk, that he saddled the donkey for him, for the prophet whom he had brought back. And he went, and a lion met him on the way, and killed him, and his body was thrown on the way, and the donkey was standing by it, and the lion was standing by the body. And see, men were passing by, and saw the body thrown on the way, while the lion was standing by the body, and they went and reported it in the city where the old prophet dwelt. And the prophet who had brought him back from the way heard it, and said, It is the man of Elohim who rebelled against the mouth of Yahuah, and Yahuah gave him to the lion, and it tore him apart and killed him, according to the word of Yahuah, which he spoke to him. And he spoke to his sons, saying, Saddle the donkeys for me. And they saddled it. So he went and found his body thrown by the way, and the donkey and the lion standing by the body. The lion had not eaten the body, nor mauled the donkey. And the prophet lifted up the body of the man of Elohim, and placed it on the donkey, and brought it back. And the old prophet came to the city to mourn, and buried him. And he placed his body in his own tomb, and they lamented over him, saying, Oh, my brother. And it came to be after he had buried him, that he spoke to his sons, saying, When I am dead, then ye shall bury me in the tomb where the man of Elohim is buried. Lay my bones beside his bones. For the word which cried out by the words of Yahuah against the altar of Bethel, and against the house of the high places which are in the city of Shalmaron, shall certainly come to be. After this, Yerbin did not turn back from his evil way, but again he made priests from all sorts of people for the high places. Whoever wished, he established to become one of the priests of the high places. And this matter was the sin of the house of Yerbin, even to cut it off and destroy it from the faces of the arrest. Here we see there was a prophet that was giving strict orders from Yahuah to declare words to a place and not go back the way he came in. This place was on the judgment of Yahuah because the king caused the people to go after other mighty ones and not Yahuah only. So Yahuah told the prophet to declare his word and do not eat bread or do not drink water from that place and do not go out the same way that he came in. But this other prophet that appeared not to have Yahuah's word seek to have fellowship with a man of Elohim. Maybe he hadn't received word from Yahuah in a while, or maybe he wanted to simply spend time with someone like him. But Yahuah didn't bring Besorah from the place that the prophet dwelt. He brought Besorah from the prophet that journeyed from Yehudah. So the prophet from Yahuah allowed the prophet of the land to cause him to reject Yahuah's word by turning back. If only he had kept Yahuah's Besorah, things would have been different for the prophet. So by this prophet not keeping Yahuah's commands, Yahuah declared to him that he would not lie down in the land with his fathers. If we look at it from a heavenly view, it's like the scriptures telling us that this prophet lost his deliverance because he didn't keep Yahuah's instructions. He wasn't allowed back to the place he came from. So if we're declaring to be a man of Elohim, like a title of a teacher, preacher, prophet, someone chosen to bring Yahuah's Besorah, we can't come half-stepping when receiving Yahuah's word. We can't come face-to-face with truth. We can't turn away from truth. The prophet turned from Yahuah's word and accepted the word from another man. If Yahuah is giving you word to bring his Besorah, we must guard his commands. We can't allow someone to persuade us to go another direction. Yahuah gave Adam and Eve his instructions in the garden, but Shaitan lied and caused both of them to sin against the Father Elohim. 2 Timothy 3. But know this, that in the last Yaman hard times shall come. For men shall be lovers of self, lovers of money, boasters, proud, blasphemers, disobedient to parents, thankless, lawless ones, unloving, unforgiving, slanderers, without self-control, fierce, haters of good, betrayers, reckless, puffed up, lovers of pleasure rather than lovers of Yahuah, having a form of reverence but denying its power, and turn away from these. For among them are those who creep into households and captivate silly women loaded down with sin, led away with various lusts, always learning and never coming into the knowledge of the truth. And as Jochan and Mamre oppose Moshe, so these also oppose the truth, men of corrupt minds found worthless concerning the belief. But they should not go on further, for their folly should be obvious to all, and also that of those men became. But you did closely follow my teachings, the way of life, the purpose, the belief, the patience, the love, the endurance, the persecution, the suffering which came to me at Antioch, at Iconium, and at Lystra. What persecution I bore, yet out of them all Adonai delivered me. And indeed all those wishing to live reverently in Mashiach Yahusha shall be persecuted. But evil men and impostors shall go on to the worst, leading astray and being led astray. But you stay in what you have learned and trusted, having known from whom you have learned, and that from a baby have known the Kadesh writings, which are able to make you wise from deliverance through belief in Mashiach Yahusha. All writings is breathed by Yahuah and profitable for teachings, for reproof, for setting straight, for instructions in obedience, that the man of Yahuah might be fitted, equipped for every good work. So judgment starts at the house of Yahuah. Lot's wife turned into a pillar of salt because she did not keep Yahuah's instructions. I believe this is a picture of someone losing salvation because her heart was still attached to the things of Sodom and Gomorrah. We can't have two kingdoms. We're either in the kingdom of Yahuah or the kingdom of this world. You can't be at two places at the same time. You can't be in two countries at the same time, nor two cities. Yahuah can be, but no one else in the creation can be in two places at the same time. Tehillim 30. I exalt you, Yahuah, for you have drawn me up, and have not let my enemies rejoice over me. Yahuah, my Elohim, I have cried to you, and you have healed me. Yahuah, you brought me up from the grave. You have kept me alive from going down into the pit. Sing praise to Yahuah, you kind ones of his, and give thanks at the remembrance of his Kadeshness. For his displeasure is for a moment, his delight is for life. Weeping might last for Layla, but joy comes in the morning. As for me, I have said in my ease, never would I be shaken. Yahuah, in your good pleasures you have made my mountains to stand strong. You hid your face, and I was troubled. I cried out to you, Yahuah, and to Yahuah I prayed. What gain is there in my blood when I go down to the pit? Would dust praise you? Would it declare your truth? Hear Yahuah and show me favor. Yahuah, be my helper. You have turned my mourning into dancing for me. You have turned off my sackcloth and girded me with gladness, so that esteem might praise you and not be silent. Yahuah, my Elohim, I thank you forever. The prophet of the land lied to the prophet from Yehudah and caused him not to keep Yahuah's instructions. So you can't trust the sayings of everyone out there in the world. Yahuah brought judgment on the prophet who was lied to, but yet he was still held accountable because he was given direction strictly from Yahuah and not from another man. Even though the prophet wasn't trying to cause him to lose his life, still he lost it because he failed to keep Yahuah's sayings. So if any man comes to you with words proclaiming, thus say Yahuah Elohim, but Yahuah didn't proclaim it, and you believe their sayings, bring judgment on yourself. Because you didn't keep the sayings of Yahuah and went after lies. I'm an open-minded person, so if I receive word from somewhere, I want to go back to scriptures to see if it lines up with Yahuah's Besorah. We can't add or take away from Yahuah's Besorah. If we do, we are subject to the plagues within the Besorah. Mashal 19:6-12. Men entreat the favors of the noble, and all are friends to him who gives gifts. All the brothers of the poor shall hate him. How much more shall his friends go far from him? He pursues promise. They are gone. He who gives heart loves his own life. He who guards understanding finds good. A malicious witness does not go unpunished, and he who breathes out lies perishes. Luxury is not fitting for a fool, much less for a servant to rule over princes. A man's discretion makes him patient, and his adoring is to pass over transgressions. The king's wrath is like the roaring of a lion, but his delight is like the dew on the grass. A man that seeks out his own understanding can't deliver himself. The only way to deliverance is to keep the one and only true Elohim, Yahuah instructions, and serve him. You hear people always saying, you shouldn't put politics and religion together. Well, if that was the case, why do politicians show up at churches during the time of an election? Thanks for watching, and thanks for sharing. If Yahuah is willing, I'll see you on the next video. So until then, stay blessed and be blessed and continue to be blessed. Hallelujah. Praise Yahuah.